Good afternoon and welcome to, this is probably, I should have counted before I got up here, but this has got to be like the 37th season of A Little Midday Music. We keep going. And thank you for being here today. We have a program, a wonderful program of Scandinavian music. Susan, what's that word? It's like gemütlich, but it's in Scandinavian.
Hygge.
That word. Hygge. So we're going to have a lot of that today with an authentic Norwegian violinist. And Susan is a wonderful member of the parish and has been a professional New York musician for her whole existence. So we're very thrilled to have you here today. And next week we have the Russian soprano, whose name escapes me, but she's wonderful.
Elizaveta Kozlova.
Oh yes, Elizaveta Kozlova, and she's terrific. So she's kind of the hot young soprano in the city right now. So we hope that she'll come and hear. This Friday we've got our benefit for the choir, and we're trying to send our kids to England, and we're going to send them to England to sing and perform. So, and then June, we're having June 13th, 4 p.m., we're doing an incredible concert, all Mozart, part of our Mozart festival, with Matej Varga playing the piano concerto in A major 488 of Mozart, and the choir singing some amazing things. It's going to be a fabulous afternoon. So, I'm going to be quiet now and introduce you to our star, Susan Olsen Maren.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And I was so happy when Claudia asked me to pick a Scandinavian program because, as you heard, I am Norwegian with a tiny bit of Swedish. And of course, we have some Danish music here too. All of these composers are from the Romantic period in Scandinavia. And I'm going to start with Ole. Americans say Ole Bull. But it sounds.
How do you say it?
Ole Bull. You have to sing-song it. He was the oldest one of the composers that we have today. He lived from 1810 to 1880. And he used some folk music. He was involved in folk music and in regular classic music. He was known as the Paganini of Norway. He traveled all over Europe playing concerts. He was a real extrovert. And he also traveled in the United States and even tried to start a Scandinavian colony here in Pennsylvania, which unfortunately failed. But he did some wonderful music. Now, most of his music was not written down. And there was some of the really virtuosic things that have been found. But what we're playing today is like a folk tune. And this is very much the feeling of Norway and of all of Scandinavia. This is called Sertejentens Søndag, which means the shepherd girl's Sunday. Because on Sunday she would have to go up to the mountain and stay in the little hytte and take care of the sheep. And then she was thinking of her friends who were down in town. So it has that melancholy feeling that she has up in the mountains with just herself and the sheep. So Sertejentens Søndag by Ole Bull. have a Swede, Tor Aulin, and he's not very well known in America, and only a little bit in Scandinavia, in Sweden. This is a suite of 4 watercolors, fyra akvareller. The first one, Idle, second, Humoresque. The third one, Hogsong, which is a cradle song. And when I play this, I think of all of the babies in Scandinavia who are put in their cradles, in their carriages, and put outside on the porch, in front of the house, in front of a restaurant, to have their little nap outside in the good air. You find this all over Scandinavia, not in New York. As a matter of fact, I think there was a Danish woman a few years ago who was arrested in New York for abandoning her child outside. And then the last song of this is the Polska. This is the only one where he uses a little bit of the folk feel of the music. He was a national romantic, and he was encouraged by his friend Grieg to write using some of the nationalistic things, some of the folk music, that you really only hear it in this last of the 4 pieces. So here we go. The 4 watercolors by Tor Aulin. Nielsen, the Danish composer. And he's mainly known for his symphonies. And he was also a friend of all of the other Scandinavian composers here. He was a violinist, and when he first was in Denmark, in Copenhagen, he was playing violin in a symphony that was conducted by Svendsen, who arranged the first piece you heard, the Sætte Jenten Søndag, and Svendsen is the one that's after this. So they're all interconnected here. He also studied with Svendsen at the Academy in Copenhagen. And this is actually one of two fantasy pieces that Svendsen wrote for oboe and piano. And they've been transcribed for violin and piano. And Claudia and I were playing this yesterday, I think, and we said, you know, this is so different than the others. This one is rather mournful. So we don't know the story of his romance, but it is mournful. Right? Yeah. Next we have a romance by Johann Svendsen, Norwegian composer, but he lived actually most of his life in Denmark. He was friends with Richard Wagner, with Grieg, with Johann Halvorsen, with all of the great composers of the day. He was mainly known as a violinist, composer, and conductor. And yeah, that's a very different sounding romance than what you just heard. and we're making something that's kind of fun. This is by Grieg, and it actually was not written for violin and piano. It was written for piano 4 hands. And this was written in the summer of 1888. It's one of the Norwegian dances.
Your $6 suggested contribution makes a big difference to our Letter series.